All right. Before I say too much, let me do a quick tech check. I want to make sure that everybody can see the PowerPoint and that you can hear my voice. Awesome. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. Oh, I did forget to drop in all that stuff in the beginning, but I'll do it in a minute. I am Joy Berkheimer. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist working out of my private practice in Boca Raton, Florida. And I work with couples, I work with individuals, but a lot of the people that I work with are people who are struggling with relationships, dating, wanting to feel more empowered in their dating, feeling like they have some control over how things are going to go in their dating situation, feeling like they are just not at a loss, right? In the middle of a game. And so I was super inspired by a lot of the people that I've been working with over the years. And eventually, when COVID came and I had time, wrote a book. So the group that we're going to be doing today is actually based off of that book. And I'm going to be talking about the 5 core keys to glowing up in your relationships, in your dating, feeling more empowered. Okay. So hold on one second. I'm just dropping in all the stuff down here. There's no way that I'll be able to answer everyone's questions today. I'm absolutely certain of it. So I do have the option that if I don't answer your question today, you're able to direct message me or email me. I just dropped that information in there at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. I will be doing a live where I will answer whatever questions were submitted last week, this week, or any questions that are submitted during the live. If you're not able to make it, it's fine. It is recorded. So your answer will be recorded for a later time. The book name is Why Won't He Call? This is actually the book cover, but for our group, I will be talking to everybody. I'm talking to my guys, my girls, and I know it says 5 core relationship keys for a goddess. However, it's for everybody. I thought I changed that stuff. Sorry. I actually literally changed the PowerPoint today to apply to everybody. So I'm not going to be just talking about goddesses today. I'm going to be talking about everybody. So if you are someone who is dating, if you are a goddess who dates an Adonis, if you are a goddess who dates other goddesses, if you are an Adonis who dates an Adonis, all this stuff will apply to you. Okay. Yes, that's what the book is called. There's a link above that'll have that information as well, and like a free ebook and different tips like that that could be helpful. All right, so just giving you the heads up. You can ask questions. The Q&A mode is on. If you have a question for me, please just go ahead and hit that question mark. If you have a response to something that someone else is saying, feel free to do that. Just go ahead and click their little chat bubble and reply directly to them. If you don't have a question for me, please don't click the question mark so I know that the question is not for me. All right. And I don't do a Q&A at the end, so you can go ahead and ask questions throughout, and I'll try to grab a couple of questions per slide. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Have a good amount of people in the room. And so we're going to talk about the 5 core relationship keys for you, whoever you are, to be empowered in dating. Now, if you are not currently dating, say you're in a long-term relationship, you're married, that kind of thing, these keys are still going to be something that does help you. But especially if you're dating, it's going to be something that helps you. How many people here are dating right now? You're like maybe in the beginning of a dating relationship, you're trying to figure it out, you're still single. Yeah. All right. So it's not just a thing where it's like, listen, I'm going to help you figure out how to trick somebody into being with you. I know there's a lot of coaches out there. I've had even colleagues who've gone to them who are saying that they're teaching people, listen, send this text message to him or to her, to your ex, and this is how you'll get them back, right? I don't believe in that type of thing. If someone wants to come back, it's because they wanted to come back anyway. It wasn't because of a magical text that you sent them. However, not that I don't believe in magic and energy and all that type of stuff, but people are not necessarily manipulated into being with you. I think it's very important for us to be able to identify who we really are so that we can line up with the right partner. So the book is actually more about you identifying your real shine, your real core sense of self, so that you're no longer dealing with the person who does stop calling you. You're going to be dealing with people who are more authentic and more aligned with who you are. I'm frozen? No. Am I frozen for anybody else? Okay, so refresh. All right. Never go back to the ex. What is different for those of us over 60? For dating? Nothing. I mean, not in terms of what I'm talking about. There's nothing different in terms of how the human mind works. In terms of us, how can I say, prioritizing ourselves and not settling for something that we know does not work for us, that's not going to change. Now, your priorities may change when you get to a certain space in life. However, in my mind, 60 is not like this space of like, well, I'm going to die tomorrow anyway. You're like, we're living for a really long time. People are having long, very sexual, very healthy lives for quite some time. And we want to be loved the way we want to be loved. Period. That doesn't change no matter how old I am. I still want to be loved in a very wonderful way. So my answer is nothing. Okay. Oh, the name of the book is not on the screen because I put they. So it is Why Won't He Call? It's Why Won't He Call? Again, it was changed specifically for our webinar, right? So why won't he call? But if you go to the link up above again, right, you'll see the actual book information there. All right. So this webinar or groupinar is for you if you find yourself stuck in the same type of cycles or connections in your relationships. You never feel at ease when you're dating. You find yourself often asking, why haven't I heard from this person? Why do I feel disconnected? And why can't I read them? Like, I don't get what's going on. You don't feel like you're prioritizing your relationships. You've never seen a healthy example of a romantic relationship, or you're tired of the ongoing thoughts that leave you feeling disempowered. Okay. So the problem is not necessarily that you have been lazy and you haven't been trying anything, that you haven't been applying yourself. Sometimes people are like, well, did you do this yet? Well, that's the reason why, because you just didn't do this thing. A lot of times, the things that we are trying are things that are not necessarily working. They're not for us to try, right? So it's not that you are just tapped out, but maybe it's just putting your energy into the right space is what we need to do, right? So I want to help you come from a space of being indecisive when you're moving forward in your dating relationships to a space of feeling more confident and in tune with yourself. I want us to remove this idea of us being selfish and understand that a lot of things that we do for ourselves is really about our self love. If you want to call it selfish, that's fine. Selfish gets a bad rap. We kind of all do have to have a level of survival for ourselves in order for us to just continue in the world. So we do have to prioritize ourselves in a way so that we can eventually give to others and just so we can, experience the world in an abundant way that we were meant to. We were meant to be happy. We were meant to have love. We were meant to be seen and heard and connected with. Or else why are all these other people here, right? So, what we have to do is step out of the game. When we start going into spaces where we feel like we have to play the other person's game or the game that we've been told is out there, this is when you are stuck in this loop. You need to create your own board, and it doesn't have to be a game, but just your own space where you are and pull people towards you for who you are instead of always trying to get someone to see you in their area. I have to change this about me or that about me. I had a client who had a session with me, and she told me that her girlfriends, she wanted to stay connected with this guy and she wanted to train him. And her girlfriends told her that she needed to not text him or call him for 21 days. Okay. How many people would respond positively to someone not texting or calling you for 21 days to shape you into loving them, so to speak? Absolutely not. Exactly. And this is what friends are telling you. This is the advice that we're getting out here, right? Like, it is ridiculous. Like, okay, I need to punish you into submission. That doesn't work. That's not what we respond to. So, and that's not you being empowered. You're very disempowered when you have to wait. Waiting makes me crazy, right? When you have to just like drop something, put that seed in there and wait for it to grow, and you're just watching it growing. That seed was not a seed, it was a rock. You put a rock in there when you didn't text somebody for 21 days. So anyway, once we have implemented what it is that we're going to talk about today, you should have clarity on how to be seen and loved as the person that you are. Okay. Know how to create the space for the right partner, have less overthinking about everyone else's thoughts, and enjoy dating again. It is a thing. You can actually enjoy dating. Are there things about dating that suck? Yes. There's things about work that suck. Yes. There's things about my family members that suck. Yes. But I still can find a way to tap into the spaces that I enjoy about all of these things. Yeah, but what about making them miss you? Listen, you can't make somebody miss you. My partner hasn't seen me since 6 o'clock this morning, and I promise you he missed me by 7:30. You either miss me or you don't. I don't have to make you miss me. It's a connection that we have. You wish that you were with me or you don't. But I can't create that feeling of you wishing that you were with me, right? Goldfish attention span better than that. It's 21 days by exactly. And still worry what he thinks about me. So this is going to be I want to say this. Worrying what someone thinks about you is not going to make them it's not going to make your life better. I'll say that. It's definitely not going to make them think about you more, right? Even if we talked about just the space of like manifesting things, when you're overthinking or you're having thoughts over and over again about this negative outcome, this is almost the thing that you are creating, right? But I'm just telling you, when we worry about stuff that we really don't have control over, this is when we're draining our energy. We're not able to cultivate things in another area. You're not able to really enjoy the other spots of your life, your friends, your like anything, any of your hobbies, because you're so consumed about what is this other person thinking. What I want you to be consumed with is, what do you think of yourself, right? What is the energy that you're putting out in the world? Or if we put it like in a non-energy sense, just what's the image you're putting out in the world? Is it that your image is that you will wait and you will wait forever, so a person knows that they can take their time coming to get you, they can take their time calling you, they don't really have to do that much work if they know that all you do is constantly think about them and worry, right? Is that the message that you want to send? I don't want you to send that, right? Oh, guys, I'm not going to get into attachment styles today. That's a whole other group. Um, but okay, I will talk about that in the attachment style group though. So, empowered dating is when a modern goddess or Adonis, or what a modern goddess or Adonis does. Okay. So, you have an ease about yourself and you shine while you manage your reactivity. You do want to manage your reactivity again, like what you're putting out there, what you're showing people. You are managing your thoughts, right? We're not overthinking about what everyone else is thinking about. We're not overthinking this narrative of all these horrible things that are going to happen and how this person really doesn't like us. We're not trying to think of, I got to move five steps ahead of them, because it's not war. It's not a game. It's just your life. It's who you are, right? So you're managing your assumptions and your emotions. So there's a sense of pride that you feel, okay? And confidence. And so you are not, oh my God, I'm sorry, and not an overabundance of doubt, right? So you're not always being doubtful. Now, sometimes we have doubt because something really is wrong. So I'm not telling you not to listen to some of your emotions or your thoughts that come up, but sometimes we have to challenge them when they are overrunning us, okay? So this is what happens when you are an empowered dater. So empowered dating is something that I talk about in the book, what it really means to be an empowered dater. So all these tools that I talk about in the book is much more detailed than what we're going to be talking about today. There's activities at the end of every chapter for you to start to really step into the space of practicing what it is and step into it in a fearless way. You have nothing to lose. You only have a lot to gain. Okay. So you raise the vibrations to a level that attracts the partner that you're looking for, not any old partner. You want to be to the level where you're getting the kind of person that you don't have to worry about what they're thinking, because that person that is right for you will tell you what they're thinking. They're not going to be this mystery. People do this mystery thing, one, because they think it's something that'll get you all hot and bothered, but it's a toxic thing to do. Or two, because they actually are not a mystery and they're just not thinking about you and they're doing a whole lot of other things and you're not a priority. You just think it's a mystery, but it's not. They're not talking because they're not thinking about it. And that's just what it is. Okay. How do you know your standards are practical and not ridiculous? That's a good question. I think that if you feel like, if you have standards that no one has met in the past, let's say 3 years, there could be a problem. But that's something that you want to tap into, one, with your therapist, two, with your friends. Like, people can give you insight about what your expectations are. But if you ever have standards that are request for a person to not be themselves, then it's too much, right? You want to connect with the person who is them, they are themselves, and this self is something that pours into you, it pours into your relationship with ease. We've also been taught that we're supposed to struggle in our relationships. It's supposed to be difficult. We're supposed to have these dramatic things in the beginning where it's like dun dun dun. That's not true. It's supposed to be easy in the beginning. Like the hard stuff is coming, right? When you understand more things about the person's values, family issues come up, maybe you have to move for work. The hard things come because that's what life gives us. But the actual connecting with somebody, guys, it's not supposed to be hard. When it is for you, it is for you, and nothing will get in the way of that thing. You do not have to beg ever. You never have to beg. Listen to what I'm saying. You never have to beg for the person who is for you. They want to be there and they're putting in as much energy as you are into being there. Never have to beg. Okay. All right. And I'm going to grab one more. It is showing up as me to let him know about when I do feel insecure, or is it wiser to keep learning to cope with them? Oh, myself. Okay. We are messaging every day, calling once or twice a week. I know there's internet and he just wants me to be me. What's okay? I think the question you're asking me is, should I tell him that I'm feeling insecure or should I manage it myself? So you don't need to tell your, especially a new partner, insecurities that you're having every day, right? And if you are having an insecurity, the way that I would express it is the reframe of that insecurity. So I could say something like, I'm so afraid that you're not here and you're going to get interested in somebody else. And what's the gratitude version of that? I'm so excited. Like when I'm talking to you, I'm so happy that I had a chance to talk to you today because I miss you, right? Like, and it's very simple to say that thing without saying this is the whole negative nightmare that I'm thinking about all day. But what are you grateful for? If you're scared of something, what is it that you're actually grateful for? What do you want to have more of? Tell people the thing that you like them doing so that they know, oh, I can do more of this thing, and this will help them feel connected, and I'll feel like I'm super useful for doing this thing that they keep affirming. So you want to affirm the positive things opposed to telling them the things that are going on in you that, yes, you do want to manage a lot of that on your own. Okay. All right. So this is key number one, right? We have 5 core keys. This is key number one. So the first one is know your story. We accept the love that we think that we deserve. Okay. SA6, I'm going to come back to that one for sure. I'm going to come back to that one. All right. So limiting beliefs we've learned from early on pour into your current view of relationships. So if you either witness your parents together in a way that maybe was toxic, or it could have been actually healthy, if you witness your parents being single, right? Maybe they were separated, maybe they never got married, whatever the case may be. If you even witness like a sibling or grandparents, anyone who's in your life that was significant, you look at their relationship style and we take that on as normal. We can see people outside of our family doing things, but we're also taught, like, people outside of our family are weird. They do weird things. You do things the way that we do things, right? So even if the way that they did things were very unhealthy, if you saw somebody in an abusive relationship, to you that would be somewhat normal. You know what I mean? Maybe not to the extent of what your parents did, but you might settle for someone speaking to you in a disrespectful way. You might feel like that's the role that you're supposed to play, or that you are supposed to be disrespectful to your partner, things like that, right? So we have to understand where these things come from. If you can't identify the original story, you can't break it down and release from it. We have to see who was the author of the story. So who gave you that story, and can you see it for what it is? Can you see them for what they are? So whenever I'm doing therapy with somebody, I do a full history of your family background and all of your relationships. So a lot of times the relationships that happen in middle school, high school, college really gave a definition of what you're supposed to accept. And when we are talking about it, they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize there was literally a theme for these relationships. And I've been thinking this was normal, and I've just been accepting this thing, or I've just been doing this thing. I've been breaking up with people for some unknown reason, and I don't, and we work on that. But you want to understand the beginning of the story so you know that you can write something different. Okay, so let's see. I see a question mark, but that's not really a question for me. Okay. So again, if you don't have a question for me, please don't hit the question mark. If you want to reply to somebody, click on their little chat bubble and reply to them. Can you talk about situationships? As a lot of people in this generation are in this too, casual situationships and not actually dating and stepping up for later. Thank you. Oh, okay. So I think you're okay. Um, talk about what with situationships. By the way, situationships are not new. People are a little bit different about their about secret keeping. That's really what's new. I would say our generation and generations after, um, you might know that I'm not that young based off of my song I was playing, but we're I would say that we're less likely to put things in like a bucket somewhere and or a suitcase, whatever, and put it in a closet and tie it away. We're out here. We're out here living. So these things that you think that is all new that you were doing, they're not new. Our parents were doing them, our grandparents were doing them. And way before them, people had situationships for a really long time. And it's not that they didn't get married, they did, but they still had situationships. So it's not a new thing. But I'm not sure really what the question is when you say, "Can I talk about it?" What's the actual question about it? And how can someone navigate vulnerability in the early stages of dating? Oftentimes, being less vulnerable turns into sabotaging the experience with someone. Okay. I'm trying to find a happy balance of being vulnerable, but not giving too much too soon while dating. So you want to kind of meet them at the same energy that they are at. Like when you say vulnerable, you're is it telling someone all your secrets? Nobody does that. You don't just go in and tell anybody all your stuff, right? You give them parts of your history because you're painting a picture so they understand like how you move, like they understand your values. That's really what we're trying to share with people. We're looking at what are your values and what are my values, and we're sharing that through storytelling. Oh, this thing happened to me once, and oh, I love this kind of movie, and this was so funny when you're telling certain jokes. I'm understanding your political values. I'm understanding your maybe religious values, your family values. How do you identify with your family? Or you're always like, I hate them so much. Or like, oh, whatever. My mom, my grandmother. I see her every month. Whatever it is, right? We understand values through storytelling. So that's what it is. There's nothing wrong with you doing that. But if you feel a need to tell all the stories of your trauma, don't. It's not. And so there could be things that happen that yes, eventually down the road, but when you say early dating, in my mind I'm thinking like 3 months in. We don't need to share that for someone to understand our values. So just keep in mind the goal. I need you to understand my values, not necessarily my pain. That's different. Okay. All right, so let me get to the next. Where am I? So, 3 reasons why you are settling. So, again, the first key, knowing your story. So, 3 reasons why you're settling. You think that you don't deserve better. Okay. And that could be related to the story that you have about relationships and what you're supposed to have, right? You're lonely. How many people reached out to people you should not have reached out to during the pandemic, during this quarantine? And we were by ourselves, right? How many people just continue to reach out to people even though quarantine's over because you feel lonely? You think there's a shortage, so you feel like, well, the type of person that I want to be with, um, I can't find them anywhere. Where am I supposed to find them? I have a lot of people who will only talk to people that they have been introduced to by maybe a friend or a family member, and that could literally be a total of 7 people, and that's it. And you feel like I have to pick through these 7 people. That's not true. I also have a lot of people who are very much like against online dating. Listen, guys, it's 2021. It's not the same little skeevy weird thing that it was before. This is where people are at. So I'm not trying to push this on anybody, but I'm telling you, why would you not go to the bank to get money out? Why would you go to the money tree that's not even growing any money? Like, go to the bank, right? So when people are like, I was at least 3 clients who are like, oh, I want to meet my dream person at the grocery store. I don't know what it is, this idea about meeting someone in the grocery store. So my experience in the grocery store is, yes, we're looking at stuff, we're looking at the produce. A lot of times it's couples, so somebody who's already with someone. But a lot of times there's also the person who's on the phone and they're swiping. So that person that you're looking for in the grocery store is on Bumble swiping. You could find him on Bumble. So it's an online dating really is, and there's so much verification that you have to do. So let me scroll down and pick a question here. Ooh, can we talk about after dating someone who would gaslight and be deflecting? Wait, when expressing your boundaries, now that you don't date them, how do you overcome the insecurity of dating again? So you're talking about bringing stuff from the old relationship into the new relationship, right? So I have a slide on that, but basically, so I'm going to wait until I get to the slide. As a matter of fact, I'll wait till I get to the slide. And how does that translate with online dating? How can I be empowered in online dating where everything is about appearances and quick swipe right and left? I find it hard to connect with people online. I don't know if anybody else wants to respond to that, right? In any of your experiences that you've had on online dating, for me, it's not just this quick thing of swiping. I mean, I'm swiping in the beginning. There has to be an attraction. And I've had a debate about this before. Like, is physical attraction like important? Yes, it is, right? If I have a favorite color, it's my favorite color. If I have a favorite car, it's my favorite car. Am I wrong because that's the type of car that I like? I no, it's what I like. I like what I like. It's not about people rejecting, it's about people lining up with what will really pull them in, what will excite them, that kind of thing. You don't want somebody swiping on you who's not really fully attracted to you, because it creates this whole making you hang on down the road because they knew truly they didn't like what they saw. But once you get past that whole thing, there is a whole option of chatting, of video chatting. There's a lot of ways to connect. You can play games with this person, like trivia. A lot of the apps are really making it very easy for you to connect. Personally, I'm not someone who will stay on an app like probably more than like a week and a half or 2 weeks. Like at that point, we're texting personally, and we're meeting up. I don't want to chat forever, right? So I think it's also understanding how to navigate that once you do start a chat, figuring out how to move forward and not stay in limbo forever. And you can weed out the people who are not about really dating, who are just bored and they're chatting, because a person who actually has the same interest in dating as you do wants to move forward the same way, right? So if you're a person who wants to meet for coffee, you don't have to meet for dinner within a week. You need to find the person who lines up with that. So I don't know if, again, if anyone else wants to respond in terms of their experience in online dating. Asking people what their favorite color is. I don't think I've ever even been asked that. There's so many other things that we can ask. There's literally boxes of books of like dating cards and questions that you can be helped with that. And on top of it, the sites are also providing questions for you. They're trying to make it easier for people to connect, right? And how do you handle being ghosting? I'll take that last question before I move on. Handling being ghosted, in our rejection group, we literally talk all about being ghosted, so that's another group that I would definitely attend. But the short of it is understanding, which I will talk about in the rejection group, that ghosting is not necessarily about you, it's really about the person. So do not take this on as like this personal thing of why wasn't I good enough. It wasn't the right time for this person, or it just wasn't the right person. So be thankful maybe that this person, again, maybe they swiped, maybe they thought that they were connected to you and they realized that they weren't. And instead of wasting all of your time, they stopped wasting time, right? You don't want to be trying to date somebody and investing in someone who is unsure. Okay. All right. Just schedule a virtual dating event with just our group and our group. Everyone here seems to get it. I would love to do that. I would love to do that, but BetterHelp is not the spot for it. All right, so know who you will be. So once in a while, blow your own mind. So meaning, what is the person that you're going to be, right? Like, who are you presenting when you go out in the world? So how do you self-identify right now? How do you talk about yourself, right? When you're talking to your friends, when you're even putting stuff on your profile, a lot of people do this, like debasing yourself? Are you belittling yourself before somebody even has a chance to really connect with the best parts of yourself? So what are the strength-based attributes you know that you carry with you? Okay. So I'm a baddie. Yes. What? Yes. So I want someone else to tell me, what are the things right now that you look at about yourself that you affirm are wonderful, right? Like, you should date me because, what is that? You should date me because what? I'm open-minded, I'm cute and funny, I'm caring, beautiful, intelligent, open, I'm pretty funny, loyal, I'm kind-hearted. Yes. I have a big heart. I'm really kind and loving, affectionate, imperfect, and a healthy human. You should date me because I'm loyal. Yes. Adventurous. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Affectionate. Love it. And this is how you need to self-identify, right? Even if you're not saying this, like walking up to people like, you should date me, because you need to remember that, because dating does get difficult where people are doing things that make you feel the opposite of lovable, the opposite of capable of dating. Again, I'm not saying you guys have to do online dating. I just want to give you kind of the tools to feel better in whatever form of dating. You can get a matchmaker, you can go to social events, you can go to speed dating, because we are back in the world a little bit right now. So there are different options outside of just being online, right? How do you know if you're ready to online date or just date in general? How do you know if you're ready? I think you know when you're ready. Maybe a better question or a better way for me to comprehend is, how do you know if you're not ready? You know if you're not ready if every time you click on a dating site, you become angry, you start to cry, you have flashes of an old painful relationship, and maybe you're, even when you're conversating with people, you're being passive aggressive and condescending because you're just remembering something from before. So that's how you know you're not ready for dating. But you're kind of outside of that when you feel healthy and, curious about connecting, you're ready. Okay? So 3 reasons that you are not going up in your relationship right now. You don't know who you are, right? So you're maybe not identifying those attributes that I just asked you guys about. You maybe have never been affirmed for these things, because only a few people did put this in here, but I have over 140 people in here today. So how many people don't even know what they bring to the table? How many people can't really stand in that greatness? And if you can't do that, it's very difficult for someone else to be able to see it and affirm it with you. Or they can see it and affirm it, and it almost irritates you that you almost think that they're lying, right? Like, I don't trust you. Why are you saying nice things to me? Right? You don't like who you are. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you don't like the presentation that you have. And so you hide. You decide to not really shine all the parts of you because you don't want them to see any part of you. You're afraid of your shine. How many people have dated somebody who they were so insecure, you had to turn down who you are for them to feel okay? And that has now become a habit for you. So, is speed dating worth it? Everything is worth it if you're going to get a positive result. There's no venue where somebody hasn't met the love of their life. So anything is possible anywhere. I've met several loves of my life in several different places. So I know that anything is possible. So, how do you know you have repented enough for your past sins? I am the wrong person to ask about this because I'm not about repentance or sins. So, immediately is my answer. But again, I'm the wrong person to ask. If your relationship is directly with God, and that's between you and God, right? And if, okay, so I'll just say, for example, if I had a relationship with God, if I have a relationship with God, when me and him talk about what I did, he's over it. He was over it yesterday. So it's over. There's no repenting necessary. Okay. All right. And can you suggest dating sites that aren't based in hookup culture? Yeah, I've tried a couple of apps. So the one thing that I will tell you, I have a client. I'll be talking to him tonight, as a matter of fact. He was going to, and I'm not trying to give a bad name to some sites. I'm not even gonna say those sites. I'll say the sites that I know where he was on, sites that I am aware of or more about hookup. And they were not paid sites. I know everyone doesn't want to pay for stuff, but in my experience, it has been worth it to go where people have to pay. The men and the women have to pay to be there. It's a different investment that they are making. I don't have to pay for a hookup, right? Not that paid sites don't have hookups, but in general, that's not necessarily the mindset. So I would say Match.com. I love Match.com. I'm told eHarmony is really good. Who else? Bumble's okay. Hinge is good. There's other sites, I won't mention them because to me it is more of a hookup culture. However, I also know that people have met their permanent partners in these other sites whose names I will not use, because you can meet people anywhere. A lot of them actually intended to hook up and then it turned into something else. So, and how do you let your ex go mentally? That's literally you being in therapy, right? You are grieving a future that you thought you would have, is what it is. When a relationship ends, it's literally a grief process. And we have to be compassionate towards ourselves about this grief. Grief takes a long time. It's not linear. You know, you have the stages of denial, acceptance. You can be angry one day, you can be sad one day, you can spontaneously cry. Expect that it can take a while, especially depending on how long you were with this person. It can take quite some time. Now, that doesn't mean that it should prevent you from connecting with somebody else, but you do have to do things to remain grounded so that you can connect with other people in a healthy way. So, ask your therapist for more grounding tools to manage the grief, because that's what it is. It is grief and loss. Okay. So, let it go. Be unafraid of loving freely and deeply. So, this is, I was saying, I was going to get to the slide because somebody was asking something about this. Oh, about like old hurts, I think. So it's time to release misplaced hurt, preventing you from connecting now. So all the things that this person did to you before, we cannot allow that to paint a picture that because you did it, everyone will do it, right? Or even if three of you did it, that everyone will do it. It is just not true, right? If you are someone who wouldn't do the thing that this person did to you, you are a person in the world that exists that wouldn't do that thing. So I know that there's others. There's plenty on here who wouldn't do things that were done to them. So there's plenty of people I know for a fact that exist who are not looking to cause pain for others, but there are also plenty of people who are confused. It's not that they're bad. They have their hangups. They may have a personality disorder. They may have their own trauma that they're stuck in. What's not healthy is when they're not trying to change the habits, they're not trying to change their mindset, and therefore it's not good for you to be with them. They're not bad, they're just not good for you. Okay. um let's see. And okay, what's your reactivity that you find being triggered in your relationships? What is something that you find yourself doing when you get triggered now in your dating relationships? What's a thing that keeps coming up? And I want you to say it because I want you to know what it is so you can work to defeat that thing. You need to be able to, you can't fight something that you can't see, right? So identify what's something that you guys find yourself doing now when you get triggered in your relationships. Being, I wonder often why I think dates go well, but then the second one rarely happens. Well, no, I don't know if it's you being I mean, it could be, but I'll say this. Um, we're very polite too, right? So we can go out on a date with someone, and generally we're not going to be like, "That was terrible," or "Your breath was bad the whole time. It was awful." I'm not going to say that to you. I'm going to make a mental note, and I'm not going to go out with you again. It's probably what's going to happen. But I'm going to be really nice because I'm not a vicious animal. So it's confusing, right? Because I could have a good time with someone. I could have a good time probably with anyone, is the truth, right? Unless you do something that is completely, I think, against my beliefs. Like if you're a person who hurts other people, I will openly say you're a jerk. But if you're just a person who I think is really corny, or you don't like any of the things that I like, I realize I'm not going to want to go to this concert with you. Like, oh God, I could just see this in 3 months. This will be awful. However, you're cool, right? So because we are overly polite, you're not going to know. It could be a really good first meeting, but it doesn't mean that you're going to have a second date just because I'm nice. So, okay, sorry. Overthinking, run away, ignore and be rude, stay hooked on the first red flag. Up, yep, over obsessed with that. Stonewalling, I snap, I get anxiety attacks, I give up and walk away. Yes. So, know this. I want you to remember this thing, because if you haven't been talking to your therapist about this, you need to do this. You want to isolate. You need to process through this. Um, I don't get why I look past red flags, but I can see the same red flags in other people's relationships when I'm asked. Well, that could be several reasons. One of them, if we go back to this thing of why we settle, right? 3 reasons why you may be settling. I'm wondering, AE2, if one of these would apply to you, that you think you don't deserve better. You can see the problem, but you're like, well, this is what it is. I'm supposed to have this, or this is what everyone has, right? Or you are lonely and you'll just accept it, or you think that there's no one else. So I would challenge yourself to look more at the why. It could be one of those 3. Okay. So 3 ways that you are being run by fear. Your past experiences make you defensive. You hide your truth for the fear of judgment, and your truth could be the truth about how you actually see a certain thing, and you act like you agree with them around a political thing. I keep saying that because now it's a thing. Or the truth about something that has happened to you that maybe you are ashamed of. So it kind of makes you quiet and constantly be hiding something and worried that if somebody were to see this thing about you, that they would think that you were dirty, that they would think that you were no good and not worthy of them, right? Or you don't invest in a commitment and you expect the worst. So that could be a person who's like, yeah, I'm down for dating, I'm down for chatting and have a little bit of fun, but I'm not going to commit to anything because I know everyone's going to break my heart anyway. So actually, I'm going to break your heart every time. So, all right. Is it okay to tell someone new you're dating you're in therapy? Finally, it is now. We have normalized therapy in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, to a point where it's good. It's like, oh, you don't have a therapist, you don't have a chakra healer, you don't have a yoga instructor. What's going on with you, bruh? Yeah, it's okay to tell people you're in therapy. And a lot of times I've seen that where people will come to me and they're like, oh, I came because this girl I'm dating is in therapy and I thought it might be a good idea. So, yeah. All right. Am I wrong for not wanting to give someone my number on a dating site? I have found guys will ask for my number after a quick exchange and it turns me off. I ask that we just communicate on the site for a while before exchanging numbers. This has turned guys off and they usually stop or lessen their communication. Am I being old fashioned? That's It's your value. I'm not going to tell you to change your value for anybody else, right? I will say what guys have told me directly is that they have to pay, depending on what app you're on, they have to pay to message where maybe you don't have to pay the same thing or something like that. And they don't want to keep paying, is really what it is. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know what it costs for them to do it. If there's any guys here, maybe you can speak on that. But is that being old fashioned? It again, it is what it is. Understand and own your values. The right person who feels like they really want to connect with you will deal with continuing to chat with you until you're comfortable. I can't tell you how many guys have said, I just want you to be comfortable, right? And when you're comfortable, we can move in this direction, that direction, because that's how much they want to connect. Okay. How do you date with kids? The same way you date without kids. Get a babysitter. I know for me, when I started dating again, I have two kids. They're teenagers now, but I had a rule that everyone who dated me knew, and some people didn't like it, and they went about their way, and that was fine. How I weeded people out. You couldn't meet my kids for 6 months. My kids could not see you. They didn't know you existed. They didn't know I was talking on the phone to you. Like, but that was my rule. So you want to kind of create boundaries around what you need in terms of that. But when you say how, if you mean just the logistics of it, it's just having somebody watch your kids. Okay. Oh, someone just said if the person for your kids shouldn't be an issue. Oh, so maybe if you were asking that, like, would people not want you because you have kids? No, plenty of people are perfectly fine dating people who have kids. And is it unhealthy to love? So absolutely, because the potential fall will be from a further height. You love how you love. If it is purely you just loving, and that's what falling is, right? It's this whole surrender. It's literally the definition of freedom, and what freedom is not having fear, right? And that's the state that you're in, not having fear of whatever it is going to happen. You just allow yourself to experience it. It's not a problem if it's like actually you being in that experience and not being an experience of infatuation or obsession. That is you forgetting yourself. If it is something where you're forgetting yourself and what you actually love and that kind of thing, that's not healthy. But deeply falling in love is the goal, honestly. That's the goal. We want to feel that. Oh, may I ask why you made this rule? Oh, because I didn't want my kids meeting someone that I may not be with long term. And I'm glad I made the rule because there were some situations I'm like, oh man, like they got close to that 6 month mark. And I'm like, I'm so glad my kids didn't meet you. Yeah, I don't want my kids seeing like this revolving door of people coming into my life in that way. Because I'm very cognizant of also the things that I'm teaching them about relationships. So, all right. So figure out your fit is key number 4. Poorly fitting shoes are like hell on earth. So be honest with yourself, which is a lot of stuff that we're talking about that. Stop trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Stop trying to smush things to fit. Like, I can make this work. I can accept this thing. I can just carve around here and we'll be fine. I'll just take this up. It's fine. It's all good, right? Maintain what's important to you, not what will keep you entertained temporarily. Don't do things and just be moved by, I want to feel this feeling in this moment, unless you do it with the full knowledge that this is just this moment and you're not necessarily investing in something that's healthy long term, right? So, okay, I guess I'll go back to the situationships again. There's nothing wrong with situationships. There's nothing wrong with you living your relationship style that you want to have, you being true and honest with the fact that you don't want a committed relationship, as long as you're honest with all the players in the situation, right? You do you, but don't get fooled into thinking you can make something work that does not work, that doesn't fit for you. So, 3 reasons that you're not a good fit. You guys don't have the same, you don't have common interests at all, like nothing. You don't like, now, whereas a person can teach you some new things, they can expose you to different parts of the world, different understandings of the world, different cultures. That's amazing. But if it's something that is just so different the way that you see it and you can't do anything together, like I like going to the movies, but you love camping all the time, right? What am I supposed to do? How do we find time to spend time together? I love talking on the phone. You hate your phone. Like, what? What are we going to do here? So you want to be careful with that. Your values don't align, right? That could be religious. It could be, like I said, family values. Whatever values, your core values are important to you, they don't align. And only one of you is practicing a healthy relationship vibe, right? So somebody is not being honest, somebody is just trying to be casual and they're saying something different. This person is not a good fit for you. Okay. um what are some good ways to really figure out what your relationship needs are? I guess I would start with something simple like the 5 love languages, finding out what your love language is so you understand the things that are important to you, and what you actually identify as being loved. Other than that, when you say relationship needs, that's so broad. Like, are you talking about somebody's financial well being, if they're able to take care of you? A vision board is really good for that. Maybe using pictures to visualize what my life would look like if I was in a happy, healthy, loving relationship. What would I be doing? Um, like, would I be traveling? What would I look like? Right? Would I finally be able to stop dieting? What would I be traveling? What job would I have, or would I not have a job? Would I be a stay-at-home mom, right? So maybe doing a vision, or dad, sorry, maybe doing a vision board could be helpful. Okay. And number 5, date yourself first. Confidence is not, will they like me? It's, I'll be fine if they don't. Okay? That's what confidence is, that you know that whatever the situation is, that somebody, some stranger is not about to break you because of their opinion of who they think you are, because you are who you are, right? It's understanding who it is that you actually are. So you are as happy as your happiest relationship. Make your happiest relationship the one that you have with yourself first. Be happy with spending time with yourself. Be happy with understanding your value. Be happy with telling yourself horrible jokes and laughing at yourself, right? Understand that, being single is not this death sentence. It's not a prison. What you want is 2 happy people coming together and sharing that happy, not a miserable person sucking off of the happy person's life, right? So you want it to be 2 happy people. Happy people attract other happy people as well. Don't do the I'll be happy when, right? I'll be happy as soon as I have my wife. Your glow is contagious, so start there. There's such a difference in, walking into a date. You're going to see them. I don't know whether you're wearing a mask or not. Maybe it's see through or whatever. But you walk into this date and you're worried about how everything is going to go wrong, or you're worried about how your clothes are right now. And that worry is like, you see the scowl? That's when you're like, oh, where's he sitting? Where's he at? Opposed to walking into the date and you're smiling. You're like, oh, I got to go out tonight. I left the cats at home. It's awesome. I left the kids at home. My mom is so great for watching the kids. I'm about to have a good time. I love the steak at this restaurant. You're looking for them to entertain you. Like, I wonder how well I'm going to be entertained tonight. That's what I look at. I'm like, is this guy a stand-up comic or what? I find reasons to laugh all the time. How much do I get to laugh tonight? I'm not worried about what you're thinking of me. I'm worried about what I think of you, or I'm thinking about what I think of you. I'm thinking about how much can I enjoy you tonight? Thank you. All right. So Thank you. Three reasons that you're not being treated. Didn't change this one either. Sorry. The goddess or Adonis that you are. They, the person you're dating, is not single. Reason number one. I'm not judging this. I'm just telling you why you're not going to be treated the way that you fully want to be treated. I've been, the front chick, the side chick, the back chick, all that stuff. I get it. I get it. However, if you want to get all the things, right? When they're not single and they're not polyamorous, that's probably not for you. They've been hurt and they're not healed. Okay, so they can't really give you the best version of themselves. They're not ready to commit to a real relationship. Again, they're just trying to keep it casual. Keep it casual. That's right, the back chick, all the chicks. What are practical ways to date and fall in love with yourself? Being intentional about self-care days, right? Like this is the day that I'm really going to pamper myself. This is the day that I'm really going to feel myself. So I used to do, instead of maybe going to church on Sundays, or I can't remember what day it was, but it felt like church to me. I would go to Kundalini yoga. And Kundalini yoga, which I like a lot more because I don't have to do too much moving and sweating, is really about it's like a lot of breath work, a lot of like energy work, and you have to just feel your body. You have to move your body in a way where you recognize self so much, and you appreciate the fact that you can move your body. You appreciate the idea that life is in you and you are an amazing, unique being walking around the planet, right? So you want to do things that are just intentional, even like getting my nails done, getting my hair done. It's me sending the message to me that you're supposed to have that, girl. Like, you're supposed to be adorned with beauty. You're supposed to put lotion on and have soft skin. Like, this is who you're supposed to be. So just taking care of yourself the way you would take care of the person you love the most in the world. Okay. But somebody asked a question up here. I feel like I wanted to. Dang. Okay, how do I deal with being friend zoned? Should I keep my distance so it's not painful, awkward, or should I just actually accept their platonic view of me? It's up to you. Some people can do the friend zone and they can appreciate having that friendship, and some people will just consistently find themselves just trying to be more than friends, which can eventually be painful because it's like walking into a consistent rejection. Or you might find yourself plotting against all their other happy relationships. And if you can't be happy for your friend dating someone, you don't need to be there. Okay? And how do you know if they are not healed? You will know. Seriously, they will do toxic things. Like, you will know. You will know. People do things that they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to do that. That kind of thing. When they're saying sorry very often, or not saying sorry, but you find yourself crying and in pain and confused, they're not healed. Let's see. And what, Kundalini? Is that what you were saying? You can Google it. It starts with a K though, not a C. I'm trying to think. I think there was one more that I wanted to see. Is it pointless to keep things going? Who is not looking for a relationship with hopes that they? Yes. I'm not even going to read the whole thing. Yes. Yes. When they are ready and you are on fire and you are empowered, they will come for you. If that's what they want, they will come for you. It's really as simple as that. You don't have to keep the light on, ready, ready, ready. They know. And if they are for you, they are for you. No one can take what is actually for you. I promise. Okay. All right. I was dating somebody and they went back to their ex. Does that mean that they were not fully healed? I don't know about not being healed. It just sounds like what it means is that they were actually in love with their ex and they prematurely ended the relationship. One of them did. So I don't know if that means anything about healing. It's just they still had like a soul tie and they went back to them. So an empowered being, okay, this is what it is to be an empowered being who's doing empowered dating. You are limitless. You know that there is no limit on where you can be, who you can be with them, or how you can be with them, right? You are wise and discerning. You're not just looking at these red flags and being like, oh, it's a cute little flag, and just keep going. You're wise and discerning about your time. You're deciding how you really want to spend your time. Okay. You are fearless. Now, being fearless can be a little bit difficult. First, you have to be brave and you have to step out there and do things over and over again. And as you continue to do that, you do become fearless because you're like, I overcame that. I didn't die. My heart didn't actually come out of my chest and break in front of my face. Right. So you do become fearless in these adventures. You're a person who speaks your truth. You're not going to turn this down to make everyone feel good. And it's not about being rude, but you're not going to hide. You're aware of your gifts and you live in the best version of yourself. You're one who lets go of stories that do not serve you. If there's a story that was told about you over and over again, or that you told yourself over and over again, you are somebody, when you are empowered, that you can let that go. You do have a story. We do have pain. We do have trauma, but we have to come out of the space of being a victim to being a survivor. And what does a survivor look like? What's the new chapter for a survivor? How does he or she do it differently? You always have the pen to start the story, okay? So write your story and you live your story. Okay. Please remember, guys, with your light dimmed, sorry, everyone, not guys, everyone, please remember with your light dimmed, what happens? You allow somebody to put you in a position where they can manipulate you, put you in a position where you cannot really fully exhale or be your authentic self. Your adventure, your journey is incomplete if it's not you in this adventure, right? And you allow somebody to come and go as they please because they can't see the full beauty, the full brawn that you actually are, knowing that they need to stop playing with it. Okay? So be unapologetic about your shine. And the presentation is going to be emailed to you. So you will have access to the presentation for 7 days. BetterHelp will send it to you. So again, I know for sure that I have missed a bunch of questions. And I want to tell you guys, I'm super thankful for you guys responding to things that I know I wasn't able to respond to. That was super helpful. Please email me or direct message me anything that you would like me to answer tonight. The live will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram. So you can direct message me on Instagram or you can email me directly. I'm going to drop it in one more time. If you haven't already, check out the link above for additional resources. And I think that's pretty much it because we are already at 1 o'clock my time. So guys, it's not on the slides. The email is there, joy@glowyourgoddess.com. Okay? All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. If I don't see you tonight, have a great night. And as always, if you have other topics or ideas for groupinars, because I saw a couple of things in there, please feel free to email the help desk and let them know so they can have someone create something that you think would be super helpful. I don't share my slides. Nope, you can't have slides. But they will give you a link in your email so that you can rewatch this. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.